like to define, I guess, peace and kindness in a very simple, practical way. I think peace is essentially lack of conflict. Does that sound about right? Last time I was here, we talked about how enlightenment is just lack of confusion. When you're not confused, you're light. You're enlightened, and that's it. Same thing. Peace is lack of conflict, and so there's, we understand as shamans that conflict really starts from within. That to end up having conflict out here means that we are engaging in battle, often with ourselves, and judging ourselves in one way or the other. And when we put down the weapons against ourselves, it makes it possible for us to put down the weapons against others, to have true compassion, which I believe is the definition of kindness, essentially. To be able to put ourselves really in somebody else's shoes, look at the world through their perspective, and whether they're being the perpetrator, the victim, or the rescuer, which to shamans is all a trap. We want to be creators. But no matter what any of those roles, that comes from a place of pain and woundedness, typically. And so to be able to be fully present with somebody, and to be able to actually, for a moment, let go of your own inner conflicts and look at what's going on with them, it's an opportunity to then have the perspective that allows you to be truly kind to them. Not just the idea, but to feel. Now, it doesn't mean not reacting to the world, not living. Living in the moment means all kinds of emotions, from anger and violent emotions and sadness. We don't want peace to mean that we're dead, that's just all gone and we just sit in a kind of blissful state all the time. That's really nice for a while, but it gets boring pretty quickly as well after a while. So you want to be able to enjoy the drama, to experience the contrast, to have the pleasure and the pain, ideally much more pleasure than pain. But when something's going on that causes pain, you want to cry, you want to scream, you want to yell, you want to be in that moment fully engaged with all that is your life and your being. The conflict comes in when you start to question that and wonder if that was bad or not, right? Should I have just been able to not react and be totally kind no matter what they would do? And you see how much conflict that elicits within you. Am I a good person or not? Could I be better? How do I get rid of that part of me that gets angry? When, as shamans understand it, as long as you're physically present here in the theater, you will always have those within you. We call it, there's a whole piece of work around it called shadow work that we do. And of course, Debbie Ford, Dark Side of the Light Chasers, is a great study of that, and practical treatment of that. And it is about recognizing and finding every one of those little parts within you that we somehow have been taught to judge and to try and get rid of and do battle with, that we're not even aware sometimes we're doing battle with it, and that's why it's called shadow. It's way behind us. And to be able to then love that part of us, literally have the compassion and the kindness directed towards ourselves to such a degree that we can stop the inner conflict and embrace all of it. In fact, I want to read you this quote. I think this is kind of funny that I'm using this, but we'll just bear with me. It's a new moment in the life of Sean. Facebook. It's not all technology is bad. So this is a quote I love, and I saw it this morning for a good reason. It says, my philosophy is, it's none of my business what people say of me and think of me. I am what I am, and I do what I do. I expect nothing and accept everything, and it makes life so much easier. Guess who that was? Anthony Hopkins. And I love Anthony Hopkins. He's pretty cool. Anyway. But that's that's a little bit of the essence of shadow work, is to be able to recognize. Now, if you are constantly engaged in conflict in your world, if you have difficult relationships and difficult battles with health and a lot of things happening that you don't want to have happening, there's a lot of healing that needs to take place there. No question about it. We have past life wounds and things that sit at this level of our being and that create those experiences for you over and over. So that's an essential part of getting to a place where you can do the shadow work. The shadow work's really the last piece of work on a healing journey that we do, to be able to shed the violent wounds against you so that you can embrace the violence in you is essential. You can't be holding it any longer. Does that make sense? And so that's the bottom line about what peace really means. A lot of these things, and I write about it in my book, is that it's the nature of nature. It's our nature to be compassionate and loving and peaceful when we're not wounded and engaging in inner conflict around all of that. That's just the norm. Look at animals. Look at the rest of nature, of the wild, that doesn't necessarily have these sort of, or the kind of people like the Karo that have been isolated so that they haven't been living this weird upside down warrior masculine type of life, and they don't even have a word for compassion or peace. It's just the norm. It's like, well, what do you mean? What else is there? What's the opposite of that, right? So I don't think it's not about working hard to achieve this concept called I am peace, or I'm a peaceful person. It really is more practical. It's a more practical thing of just stopping the inner conflict, because the lack of conflict is peace. And it's not death, again. It's not no reaction to anything. Do you see the difference there? You want to still be alive and engaged. I'm going to do a little bit of a meditation with you all to teach you how to disengage, to be empathetic, but then to be able to disengage, so that when I mentioned about being fully present and reacting in the moment, as part of the drama, the thing about finding a place back to center and peace is to be able to disengage with that moment, to disengage with that situation. And there's some tools that allow us to practice and get good at that, so that you're not conflicted for another 2 weeks again about what you could have said or should have said or should have done or couldn't have done. That's the idea, is not to hold things longer than that moment, right? Because then you're not peaceful. That's the point. The point is that if you have any sort of those questions going on in your mind, questions between this or this, should I have done this, should I do this, am I doing this or not? That's conflict. That's what I'm talking about. That's lack of peace. So to find peace, you kind of have to take a side on any of those conflicts and run with it. Let it go. Be okay. Just let that quote. I am what I am. I do what I do.
For me, it's being like 10 miles ahead of myself. I have to bring myself back. So instead of going, oh, should I have done this, should I have done that? It's more like,
what are you going to do? Yeah, you're not being present. You're being
right. But I know it now. So
yeah.
I catch myself all the time.
Yeah, so from the shaman's perspective, what that really looks like energetically is, our luminous body is this sort of toroidal thing, and ideally it's very smooth, and we just have the source coming in, and we have the drain going out into the earth, so that we create, and then our drama and our heavy energies go out the bottom of our body into the earth and get mulched just like our food, and then we just keep playing around like pearls on a string with each other. And when we're together, we connect. We connect with eyes and ears and all that, but we connect energetically, third chakra to third chakra, with these threads of energy, these conduits of energy, right? Of a conduit of energetic information. And take that information into our nervous system. So that's intuition. That's how we can feel what other people are feeling, and it's a very useful thing mostly. But we also do that forward in time to what's coming next, to the next thing we're doing, or we keep one connected to the event that happened 2 weeks ago. And the more of these things that we don't disengage from, the more information is still coming in, and it's still working our brain. And so you go to try to meditate, right, and you can't quiet your mind, and you can't get there, and it's hard. It's simply because on an energetic level, you're still picking up tons of information that's not in the present moment of now, right? That got told, right? So let's just let's try this exercise and see if some of any of the internal conflicts that you're aware of or not will go away or stop when we do this. So it's one of the meditations on here, but just close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. Just let it out. And imagine moving from behind your eyes and move down into your torso, behind your heart. See your heart beating in front of you. And then keep moving down so you're right underneath your rib cage, and you see the ribs like the mouth of a cave, and you're looking out from your solar plexus into the world. And it's like you can imagine seeing this room and everything, and if you imagine moving out from there through a tunnel, or let a tunnel form in front of you from your solar plexus, and move out of this place and around the corner, and there's these trees, there's these wonderful redwood trees nearby. And I want you to imagine that your cord connects to one of these trees. And there you are, find yourself face to trunk with this magnificent tree. And you're able to actually merge with the energy body and the physical body of the tree through this tunnel. So now you are the tree, and you feel the strength and sturdiness of your trunk, and the roots in the ground, and the moisture around the roots, pulling up into the roots and up through your cells and out your branches. And you feel the cool breeze on your leaves in this moonlit night. And the moonlight gently working the processes inside your tree, inside you. Not only do you feel that physical tree, but you remember its life. You remember as it broke through the ground several hundred years ago as a tiny sapling, and the sun passed over every day and wrapped its bands of sunlight around you, giving you energy and warming you and allowing you to grow up with the nearby trees and plants. And everything seemed to be moving so much faster than you. You watched the animals go by, and you watched the humans come, and the buildings going up, and everything changing around you. You know what it feels like to be that tree. And it's history. And then imagine finding that tunnel of light and working your way back through the tunnel of light back to this room and right back into your own solar plexus. And that tunnel dissolves behind you. And then you make your way back up your torso and back behind your eyes, where you're normally looking out into the world, and then open your eyes. How do you feel? Pretty good? Very nice, huh? Yeah, you feel like a tree, right? Now you know what it feels like. So that's, that's the sort of the beginning of the shamanic sort of practice of shape-shifting. That's what they do. They would go and into the body of the jaguar, the eagle, learn from that directly, see through its eyes, feel what it feels, sense what it senses, get the information from the plant as to what medicine, how to prepare it for medicine in a way that would take scientists a billion years to figure out, right, through trial and error. So it's a very real practice. And if you practice that kind of engaging, then you can practice disengaging, like the dissolving. And you can also do what I call the kahuna break, which is a little ritual of pushing the energy back down the cord and then cutting it and smoothing it. And that's a quicker way even than trying to imagine it dissolving, because it's mythic, it's ritual, it's always more powerful. Or with a feather or a sword or your smudge, candle, fire, lots of ways to get those engagements to be cut. But the practice that only really, if you just did it for a couple of weeks, you'd have, of learning how to consciously engage and then consciously disengage, will quiet your mind for the rest of your life. You'll be like an expert meditator, basically. At that point, you'll be able to just be fully present in the moment, no engagements here, there, forward in time, back in time. And you will, we practice with trees and animals and such, because without a certain amount of training and ability, and healing the wounds of the caretaker archetype and other things, you don't generally want to do that with a person so much. Although we do that naturally, right? But if you're really wanting to be empathetic, if you're really wanting to feel and know what this person has gone through and where they're coming from, that's how you do it. You can literally follow that connection and be there. And then when you come back, you really want to not keep any of it, right? And it's how we work as shamans. It's a big part of how we track as shamans. We're able to see everything from your past and future. So that was that meditation. Now, in terms of, and that's for peace. Now, for the kindness and the compassion, and moving beyond your own wounds and your own conflicts, so that you can actually have the time and space to feel somebody else's and have true kindness, true compassion. There's another exercise, there's another meditation that we can do. And so close your eyes. Deep breath again, let it out. And once again, moving from behind your eyes. I'm going to rattle a little bit for this one. So moving from behind your eyes, move down into your torso again. And see your heart beating in front of you. And imagine entering your heart, seeing the blood rushing by and seeing the valves working. Beautiful heart. Keeping your body alive. And in the center of your heart there is a light, a beautiful sphere. Gold and white, blue, shimmering light. And I want you to enter that sphere of light, leaving behind your physical body, leaving behind your own story and history. And this is the center of your soul. This is your essential self. And with each breath now, that sphere expands. And it expands around your heart itself. And you see your heart beating within that sphere of light, like you're on the edge of the sphere looking inward. And it expands around your body. Looking down at yourself, sitting in your chair, within your sphere of light. And your sphere is outside of space and time. It's unaffected by anything. And now your sphere of light grows to encompass the whole room. Everything in this room is in your sphere of light. And then it expands out to encompass the entire city. Looking down with this bird's eye view of the entire city within your sphere of light. The cars, the people, the ocean, the animals, city lights, all contained within your sphere of light. And then it expands out once again to cover the entire west coast of this continent. Looking down as if from space, you see this whole part of the continent enveloped in your sphere of light. And then it expands to encompass the entire continent. From coast to coast, north to south. Deep under the ground. And now that sphere of light covers the entire planet. You see the whole world within your sphere of light. You can go as far as you wish, encompassing the entire solar system, and then the whole galaxy. And the sphere of light expands to the edge of the entire universe. You even get a glimpse of the void beyond. Now bring it back around the galaxy. Back around the solar system. Back around the earth itself, all within your sphere of light. And right back around this continent. And the west coast. And back down around this city. And like an eagle, you're flying along that surface of the sphere, looking down. Back around this room. And right back around your body. Back around your heart. Seeing your heart beating within your sphere of light. Right back down into the center of your heart. Back inside your heart, seeing the blood rushing by and the valves working. your heart, keeping it beating in front of you. Make your way back up your torso, back behind your eyes. Rub your hands together. Feel your face, your body, fully present once again in this time and space. So, you do that a few times, practice that whenever you feel like it, couple weeks, and you'll find it very easy to get to that eagle's perspective. In the shaman's world, the eagle is the non-judgment. It's looking down and recognizing, this is vast. It's how do I really know what's going on here? How can I possibly judge this is good, this is bad? And so that peace and that compassion springs from that broad perspective. You're not still thinking, oh, that person is horrible, I can't believe they did that. There's the conflict. But I should be nicer, I should be, they did what they did, and it was in that moment, and it's over, and who knows what history they had and wounds they had from childhood and their past lives, and why they acted the way they did. So kindness comes from that. Compassion comes from that broad perspective, eagle's view.